Hello guys, if you need to set up a cooking gas plant in Nigeria this year, you need to understand the basic steps. You don't just go into any business without understanding the basic steps. What are the things that you need to do? What are the things that you need to know? What are the processes that is required for you to start the business and do it the right way? Now, the first thing you need to know is understanding the market. You know that you can't just go into any business without knowing anything about the market. Especially if you're talking about cooking gas business, you need to know what are the level of demand for cooking gas in Nigeria. Even though you may not need anybody to explain this to you, but you still have to do some, findings, know what is actually going on, what's the demand. Although right now the demand is very high, as it should be, and still growing because not everybody fully is using cooking gas for now. And the market is high, but it's growing. And the population of Nigeria, giving you an idea that in every major city, cooking gas is in high demand. So it doesn't matter anywhere you are in Nigeria, you can set up a cooking gas business in any major city, particularly right now, and you'll be in good business. Another thing you have to look at is timing. Okay, is this the right time to invest in this business? Is it too early or is it too late? Actually, the timing now is perfect. The timing now is perfect. It is actually you're at the early stage, early growth phase of the business. So anybody coming in now is coming in to invest in a business that is still at the early growth phase. So from this now taking off in the next 5 to 10 years, it might be to a medium stage, growth stage that a lot of big investors will come in and want to monopolize the business. Another thing you have to look at is there opportunities? Is there opportunities right now in the market? At least you need to be sure you are investing in a market with massive opportunities. And the cooking gas business provide a very massive one, very massive opportunities for you. And you can really take good advantage of the market right now. Then the next thing you have to look at is supply. How are we getting the supply? Is the supply for gas available so that you can always buy and have supply? Yes, supply is very good now, but still there are some challenges, with supply, especially in the area of distribution. Not enough distribution companies handling gas at the moment, but supply is okay. Okay, having understood the market and what you are up against or up for, because this one is not against, you are up for, you're actually going to take advantage of the market. After you understand that market, what it can offer you and what you can take and what steps you need to take is what you need to think next. So what are you going to do? What are the key things that you need to put in place before you begin? What are the key things? If you are venturing into this business without experience at all, this is your first time of thinking about it or even imagining that it's possible you can invest in this business, then the first step you should do is to hire a qualified consultant, somebody that can help you through the process of starting this business, because you will need a lot of advice, planning, structure, to get this done. Let me just share with you some of the things that you may be expecting, from a consultant. One is, helping you with the feasibility report. A consultant will help you with the feasibility report. You need to know, yes, the business is viable, but where you want to set it up, how viable is that location? You need to understand that. And it doesn't have to be something you are doing based on assumption. No. In this kind of business, there is no assumption. Don't play with assumption. Be very sure. That's why you need a qualified consultant to help you with that. Then the assessment of the location, where the location is going to be, does it meet, the requirements for a gas plant? Because one of the challenges with gas plant or one of the limitations of setting up a gas plant anywhere you want is that every location will require approval. Okay, that means it has to meet some regulatory conditions to be approved for gas plant setup. So a consultant will help you with that as well. Then another thing is employee handbook. Employee handbook is one of the materials that a lot of major businesses have it. Good businesses have a structure. It helps you put structure in the operations and management of the business, especially if you're not within the country. So your business have structure, have management, positions, and everybody knowing what their rights, and function will be in the gas plant. So you don't have to be somewhere yelling out instruction while you are not there. Everybody knows their role, and people who are working there know their role, so they don't let somebody else make them do what they are not supposed to be doing. So they know their role, they know their function, and it helps to build structure, organization, and respect in your gas plant. So, having understood the help you need, because you need the help of a consultant, then the next thing you need to think of as the things that you need to put in place is land. And I know that when we talk about land, a lot of people start thinking, okay, I can use one piece of land somewhere, to do that. Yes, even though Directorate of Petroleum Resources, which is the office in the petroleum industry that is in charge of approving licensing for gas plants, that is cooking gas plants, you don't have to just use any land, okay? My personal advice is that you get big land as big as possible. Okay, then the location is something else. Location assessment will help you determine the viability of that location and how profitable it can be. Because if you're going to go into, you need to know, in clear terms, how much that place can generate, not just assumption. How much can it generate? If it can't generate good money, then there's no means, investing so much money on a place that can generate a lot of revenue. So you need to think about that properly before making such decision. The other thing you have to look at is the approval process. What are the approval requirements? Sometimes people ask, oh, what is it going to cost me? Well, when it comes to approval, it differs according to state. Because while DPR has their own standard approval requirement, the state also have some roles to play in the approval of gas plants. So each state has different laws that guys setting up of gas plant in their state. So these two approvals may differ for everybody. There's no standard or one-off kind of approval for any gas plant anywhere in Nigeria. So you need to be considerate of that. Then another thing you need to think about is equipment sourcing. Equipment sourcing. You need to plan what is the capacity, the size of the gas plant you want to set up. The bigger the plant, the better. Honestly, the bigger the plant, the better. And some people don't know the advantages of that. Because they always say, oh, I want to set up a small gas plant. Yes, it's good. If you don't have the money, you can go for small gas plants. But honestly speaking, small gas plants have their own problems. And they can be frustrating financially. Okay, this is why it is usually not advisable to go that slow unless you have some kind of influence in the market or in the supply chain, because supply will frustrate you. Okay, so the advice is usually for you to go for a bigger one. These are the things that you need to know. When you understand these things properly, you can now go say, I'm going into gas plant business. Okay? And it's not something that is that too difficult or too complex, but you need someone to guide you because you don't understand it. You need a guardian to help you, a consultant that understand the business, understand gas plant setup, not just a consultant that understands business. Gas plant is different from every other business. It has its own unique challenges, has its own unique problems that you need to understand. Okay, there are basic requirements that need to be approved before you can set up a gas plant. okay? And you need somebody to guide you on also on the business side of the, so you understand how the business can be for you and how much you expect to get out of it if you do it in a particular location. So guys, tomorrow I'll be elaborating on some of the things, in the next video that I just share with you here, so you can have larger and larger understanding of what we're talking about. Okay guys, have a lovely day and God bless you.